Hey, John. Good morning.
How are you doing?
Doing well. Joe, how are you?
Welcome to the June 15th meeting of the Rotary Club of West Jacksonville. Zoom attendees, please mute yourself. Submit any questions via the chat function. Our invocation today will be given by Mike O'Brien, and then Larry Daly will lead us in the pledge.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rotarians and guests, let's bow our heads in prayer. Heavenly Father, we're thankful for today, this glorious day. We're thankful for the ideals of Rotary service above self. We're so thankful for this great club and the great work that we've been able to do over many, many years here in this community and around the world. Lord, just bless this club as we come into a new administration next month, as help us to continue to do the great works of Rotary throughout this community and around the world. And Lord, look out for all our military heroes. Bless them, keep them safe, bring them home, and bless all their families. In your precious name, we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Larry. Thank you for greeting today, Lee Davis and Stephen Rowland and Rahul Sharma. Big agenda today, a lot of things going on, so we started a little early. First, I want you to know that we got a couple of thank you notes, one from the Diaper Bank and one from the zoo for the charity grants last week. If anybody wants to see these, very nice, very heartfelt, make you feel good about yourself. If you want to read those. Okay. Also, thank you for the blood donations last week. The blood drive, very successful. I want to thank Tom Schneider for coordinating that as well. And one of the best things we do at West Jax Rotary is we welcome new members. So I'd like to have Gigi Carroll and Krista Candlish come forward right now. Krista has entered the transfer portal and is transferring from Orange Park Rotary to West Jax Rotary. We think she's made a great decision for us. And Gigi Carroll's facilitated and has been her sponsor. So ladies.
I'm so excited about this. It is my pleasure to put the red badge of you get to greet everybody at the door onto Krista. She is going to be such an amazing asset to our club. I've already got plans. I'm already going to put her to work. The rest of y'all hands off. No, truly, I would love for Krista to introduce herself. She's an incredible human being. I told her that there was something special about this club and that she needed to experience it for herself. She did, and here we are. Krista Candlish.
Thanks, everyone. I am truly honored to be here and to be a part of this great group. Winston Churchill said, "We make a living out of what we get, but we make out a life of what we give." Pardon me. And if that is true, then we're all blessed for it, right? I'm a native to Florida. Y'all got me all nervous.
Don't be nervous. You're among family. Relax.
I've lived in Jacksonville since 2007, native to Florida. And together with my husband, Kevin, we have 4 adult children, 5 grandchildren that keep us very busy. And just briefly, I'm here in a couple of capacities, but you'll get to know me and I'll get to know you. So I appreciate it. Looking forward to working with you.
Thank you, Gigi. Thank you, Krista. Congratulations. You surprised me with the grandchildren. Not a lot of 29-year-olds have grandchildren. Okay. We have a couple of dignitaries here. I'd like to call up District Governor Jeff Michelman and District Governor-elect Mickey Ulmer to the podium for some special recognitions and presentations.
Thanks, President Ike. And I don't want to become district governor elect yet. I still got about 10 days. And Mickey's still got a year and a half. So he's got a little bit more time to plan. We did want to have District Governor Rich Cooper here today and District Governor nominee John Tabor, but it seems that when we were all at the International Convention in Houston, COVID decided that it wasn't done with us. So Coop now has COVID and John has COVID. And every time I turn to somebody, Marshall's telling me, oh, did you know this person got COVID? So we're not done. But Coop was planning on being here today because we wanted to recognize somebody in the district that just does so many incredible things and couldn't do it at the district conference. And so Coop decided he wanted to do it today in front of your club. And so Patty, if you would come up here, Patty doesn't know this is happening. Patty doesn't like it when things happen that she doesn't know about. Now, what it says on here, and this is from Rich Cooper from his heart, it says, presented to Patty Chapman in recognition of outstanding dedication and service, Rotary District 6970, 2021 to 2022. And as you all know, we're just taking a snippet of Patty's commitment to your club and to our district. But Coop wanted me to make sure I pointed out to you, he kind of nicknamed all of his AGs with something. And so this is coming out of context when I tell you what he nicknamed Patty, because at the top of the award, it says priceless. And I think you all would agree. You guys want a picture? Hold your platform. All right, I have one other award that I have to make that we had planned to present at the district conference, but we were unable to do that as well due to the person not being at the district conference. Some of you may remember that we had a district governor years ago by the name of Brent Williams. And Brent was bigger than life. When he was district governor, Marshall knows this, Ken knows this, he set a bar so high that it was very difficult for others to achieve. And when I think about people like Brent Williams, as I come in to become your district governor, I know that there's a lot of expectations. And so to memorialize Brent Williams, who tragically died of ALS, we created the Brent Williams Rotary Leadership Award. And this is a very secretive process, you know, that we go through, and no one except the committee knew who we selected. And so we were all planning that we were going to do it at the district conference, but that couldn't happen. So I want to make sure that right now I get a chance to, and Ike's the only one who's been in on this secret, although Patty thought that's why we were coming, was to give this award. That's how we got it past Patty. But this is really special for me, and Coop wanted to be here, but it's also special for me. Marshall, why don't you come up here? Because once I start talking about it, it's going to be obvious. So they should know, Marshall. So the club nominated him. It has to be Ike turned in the nomination. But this is very special for me because many of you know I was club president the year that Marshall was district governor. And Marshall's been a mentor to me ever since my year as president. During his year as district governor, many of you will remember we had $1 million dinner to raise money for the Rotary Foundation, which we've only had one in the history of our district. Again, Marshall set the bar very high. Marshall does not like to follow rules, as most of you know. And Marshall decided he'd talk to John Germ about doing the district conference in Atlanta. So he organized buses and we went to Atlanta. Some of the folks in Georgia thought he was trying to expand the district, but he got away with that. It was an amazing district conference. But Marshall impacted me dramatically because when he came and told his story, he talked about his dad and he talked about polio and he talked about how it impacted on him and he talked about how he did the ride to end polio. and it had a major impact on me. I've done the ride to end polio a couple times. I've been to India, and I had the fortune of representing you as polio chair. All of that came from the influence of Marshall Butler. Since then, Marshall's been the ops chair for Florida Pets, which is an amazing job that he's done. I was on the board this year at Florida Pets, and we could not have done it without Marshall's leadership. He's also on the ops committee for the Zone Institute that we're going to be having up in Baltimore in a couple months. And he's also, as everybody in the district knows, because he does a good job of making sure that people know the role that he's in, he's our public image coordinator for Zone 33. So let me get the award out. Ironically, I was sitting next to Marshall, and he thought that I was here to give Patty an award as well. And this says, the Brent Williams Spirit of Rotary Award is presented in recognition of your many years of exemplary service to Rotary and its worldwide family. I never told you about what he does for this club because you all know that, but I don't know that everybody beyond Ike knew all the other things that he's done. Your perseverance, dedication, and commitment to service in helping others has set the highest standard for others to follow. You truly exemplify the spirit of Rotary. And I know to Marshall, this means something because he knew Brent Williams well. Presented with the highest esteem to Marshall Butler, Rotary District 6970, 2021-2022, from Rich Cooper, District Governor. Congratulations, Marshall.
Thank you so much. This really does mean a lot to me. Brent was the nominating chair, or the chair of the nominating committee, the year that I was selected governor of Rotary 6970. I'll never forget getting that phone call that night with that booming, deep Brent Williams voice saying, "Marshall, are you ready to be the governor of 6970? Yes, sir, I am. And the other really touching moment that I had with Brent was I got a text when I was in San Diego at the International Assembly, and Brent was about to pass. And so I sent a text to Brent and to his wife, letting him know he was in my prayers. And I got a text back, and it was his wife having to do the texting, but she sent it for him. And he said, "Marshall, have the time of your life." And Brent passed the next day. And Brent had an enormous impact on me. And to receive this award is just truly, there are no words. So to everyone in this club, thank you for all the support over the years as I've had all these opportunities to serve our great organization. And I want to thank my wife, she's not here, but and everyone else that's helped accomplish these achievements. So thank you so much.
Little bit of irony here. I told you that Marshall was district governor the year I was club president. Marshall chaired the selection committee when I got selected district governor. So he will have the complaint box this year if you have problems. Thank you.
All right. Love it when a plan comes together. This week's Family of Rotary will be given by Kathy Cold, and then Rahul Sharma will follow with the Sergeant of Arms report.
Good afternoon. We don't have any birthdays this week. Is Jay Henderlight here? Vacation. All right. Well, I wanted to announce that Jay Henderlight has received his certification as a family law mediator. So let's give Jay a hand. Does anybody else have some happy news they want to share? No? All right. Well, I'll tell you the story. There were two guys sitting at a bar drinking beer, and one of them looked across the bar and said to his friend, "Look at those two old drunks over there. I sure hope that's not us in 10 years. His friend took a swig of his beer and said, "That's a mirror."
Kathy Cole, you are such a great sport. We appreciate you, Kathy. Thank you so much. And Springer, I'm coming around the corner now for the Sergeant Arms report, and I feel like I'm screaming into the microphone, so hopefully my audio levels are on. But gosh, what great acts to follow every week in my position, the person that's in my position, to be able to welcome family and friends and visiting Rotarians. Before I get to that, we have a lot of people who are dedicated to helping put the big show on every week. I call them our Rotary Game Day crew: Stu Irwin, Patty Chapman, and Joe Springer. Let's give them a big round of applause. Larry Daly is learning the ropes of multimedia, making sure all the wires and cords are plugged in. Larry, we appreciate you. My goodness, so much to be proud of. The future of this club, the new members that we continue to sign. As President Sherlock says, we're taking full advantage of the transfer portal. And so, Krista, it's great to have you here, an official member of West Jax Rotary. Welcome again. And we appreciate the family support, Krista, because your husband, Kevin Canlish, was here for this really amazing moment. Kevin, welcome as well to you. Welcome. And glad that we were able to see that. You know, what great presentations we just heard. I mean, Jeff Michelman from Jacksonville Oceanside, our district governor-elect. How about another round of applause for Jeff Michelman? Well done. Mickey Ulmer from Flagler Beach. We had a great conversation beforehand. Our district governor nominee designate. Mickey, welcome. Glad to have you. Jennifer Mack, it's great to see you again. I know that you've made your presence felt. Please stand for an ovation, Jennifer. Hope to call you a member officially here at West Jax one day. I'm going to walk over to Kenny Baker, my good friend. He's going to introduce his guest that's joining us again here today. Ken.
Thank you, Raul. My guest today is Allison Louisa. Allison.
Thank you, Ken. Allison, welcome. You know, each week, you know, I share inspiration, words of encouragement for our club that's meaningful and relevant. And Jeff and Mickey, I wanted to share this with you guys as well. You know, we've got great people here, as you can see. And what we've learned here at West Jax Rotary is that whenever we decide, you know, to do something with kindness, we usually make the right decision. And I think that you see a lot of people here that do things with kindness and humility. And it's really nice to be able to see people like that recognized for it today. So thank you again for being here. That concludes my Sergeant of Arms report for today. Really looking forward to getting to hear from our speaker today, which is going to be a great Q&A interaction. And so at this time, I'd like to have all of you join me in welcoming Carter Rosenblum, who will introduce our guest speaker today. Please welcome Carter Rosenblum to the podium. Carter.
Thank you, Raul, for that great introduction. It's always welcome. Today, it is my honor to welcome Sarah Boone to our West Jax Rotary Club. Sarah Boone has had a diverse career in television, radio, and theater across the country as a performer, director, producer, and manager. She graduated from Florida State University with a BA and continued her theatrical training in New York, studying acting with Herbert Berghoff, thank you, in musical theater. Following a Rotary Foundation graduate scholarship in Scotland, Sarah was honored to win a theater teaching fellowship at American University in Washington, D.C., where she earned a master's in arts management and communication. She has held multiple management positions in New York's West Side Theater off-Broadway and has overseen the production of more than 125 plays, musicals, and concerts over the past 21 years. Sarah is currently the Executive Director of Theater Jacksonville. Please give a warm Rotary welcome to Sarah Boone.
Thank you so much, Carter. Hi, everybody. How are you today? Good. Yeah. One more time. How are you? There you go. There we go. I am going to move that a little bit. Okay, here we go. I'm going to set my timer because I have a tendency to ramble on. And those of you who know me know that. There we go. There we go. And Joe, you're gonna, oh, the bell. Sorry. There we go. I try to do that. Before I even start, I want a show of hands for people who have heard of Theater Jacksonville. This is good. A show of hands of people who've actually been to Theater Jacksonville. That's good too. Okay, so I don't have to over-explain things, but for those of you who have not been over to our Art Deco historic building in San Marco, we're located between Peterbrook Chocolate and Underwood's Jewelers, so we're in a prime location. Theater Jackson was founded in 1919, right after World War I, and we were one of the oldest continuously producing theaters in America. We thought we were the oldest, but when I got this job, I found out that we weren't. So I'd say oldest top 10, right? We have never stopped opening our doors, and that includes these last 2 years. In March of 2019, we were in a board meeting. It was 2019, yes. And it was 2 days before Broadway shut down. And I called my board president, and we were in the middle of our 100th season. And we were going great guns. We had 2 shows left, and our benefit was going to be 2 weeks later. And we walked into the board meeting, and we both suggested that we just not do it. We had a lot of elderly people that are our subscribers, and I wasn't going to put them in danger because at the time, remember, it wasn't that long ago, it hit people older. So we walked away. I actually got on a plane to New York to go see a friend of mine in a show, and was back 2 days later because everything closed while I was there. And I quarantined myself because who knew, right? Who knew? We forget the terror of all of that. So we didn't sit around for very long, and the PPP loan came out. Y'all remember that, correct? I'm sure some of you received that for your businesses. And I sat on my laptop and punched that button as soon as the portal came open for our bank. And we were one of the first organizations in Jacksonville that got one. So we had a little sigh of relief. We had to cancel our summer camp, which is one of our biggest programs. We serve 200 kids a year during our summer. And we were very fortunate to get a grant from the Jesse Ball DuPont Fund to make it a virtual camp. So we taught ourselves, I was talking to Joe earlier, it's like we taught ourselves how to do things virtually. And we were able to, we certainly didn't serve 200 children, but we were able to keep going. And as the season came along, we couldn't open our doors, right? So we learned how to do virtual performances, and we had our 101st season virtually. And we were able to do, we did a play called Thurgood, which was about Thurgood Marshall. We did The Belle of Amherst, which was about Emily Dickinson. I'm sure those of you know it. And we did small plays. And we were able to continue. We never, ever stopped. All of us have a lot less hair and a lot of gray hair because of this. But we opened this past fall with Guess Who's Coming to Dinner because that was postponed from our 100th season. So we have limited seating in the theater. We have people in. We've been in person since September. And we are right now at our last play of our, and I get my numbers wrong, I think it's our 102nd season. We were supposed to open Ragtime last Friday night. And I'm glad you said something about convention because we have a 32-person cast. Half of them have COVID. We had to cancel last weekend. And just today, I posted the cancellation for this weekend because this bug doesn't just give you a cold. We have people who have had a fever for 5 days. It is not done. So we are trying to salvage the last 4 performances next Thursday through Sunday as we approach the end of our fiscal year. But our mission is to enrich lives and broaden cultural understanding through community participation in theater arts. And the way we do this is we have so many volunteers that come and work with us. These are the people that are in the shows. It is the people that are backstage. It is the people who greet you at the door when you come in and take you to your seats. And we are now in a rebuilding phase to get these people back in the building, because I think something that's happened here in the last 2 years is everybody's kind of gone to their silo, right? We've learned how to Zoom, and it's great that we can do that for those of you, at home that can't be here today. And but it is very difficult to reacquaint people after they have been gone so long. I have friends in New York that have been in their apartment for almost 2 years, working from home. And a bunch of them just went back to work, and a bunch of them just got sent home because of this last wave. It's like, a rubber band. So we rely on these people, and we're now in the process of getting back to, I don't like to say the new normal, because I don't think we're ever going to be back to what it was. It's going to be different. And that's also growing pains that happen. And our summer camp is going great guns right now. We have a partnership with Aspire Church over in San Marco. They have classrooms that we're able to use for our kids. We're not back 100% because we're still keeping, numbers down just for safety. But all of this leads me to our prime mission is to keep people safe in the theater, and that goes for audience members as well as the people who are, volunteering for us. But we're also a business. We're a 501c3 charitable organization. Everybody in here knows what that is. And we have to make decisions for the safety of our people and for the well-being of the organization. And that has been what has landed on me and my very small staff and the board of directors that are very active in the organization. And I will tell you, I'm tired of making these kinds of decisions that have to do with COVID. And I'm hoping that we are moving forward and not, we take a little step back, but 5 steps forward. But the reason that this theater has stayed open for so long, through everything, through World War II, everything, it has never closed its doors, is because of the relationships that it has with the community. And that goes from people who buy tickets. And I know there are people out here who've been, I recognize you from coming through the doors, people who contribute money, businesses that partner with us. I'm always asking for free things for our sets and stuff like that. And also from the community. We are part of the cultural grants program for the city of Jacksonville, and we do very well with that. And we also work with the Division of Cultural Affairs in the state of Florida, and part of that grant program. And that's a big part of my job is overseeing grant writing and working with our fundraising team. So we have a good bit of earned income. It's usually more than it is right now, and that's coming back, and a great bit of contributed income. And it allows us to fulfill our mission. And I love talking to Rotary because you all are volunteers. And I had a great time in Scotland, and I'm not going to say what year it was, a long time ago, 1980 something. And I carry those memories with me. And it's always a pleasure to speak to clubs because you understand. And I feel like what I do in the nonprofit world aligns with what you do. And your sergeant at arms that said, being kind, being kind is a big deal. And we welcome people into our building, and we try to be kind, and we welcome people who are kind to others because it's a nurturing atmosphere. And we have children that start with us. We have a Theater for Babies program that's nobody in America does. We partnered with a woman from Canada for children who are 3 to 12 months old. It's an interactive theater experience, and it's at the Dubo Preschool once a month. So we get kids from the cradle, and we go all the way through to the cane. And our summer camp starts at age 7, and kids go through there, and they graduate from that at age 14, and then they become senior counselors, and then they go away to school. They're with us. We have kids that go through the whole program. And the children are from all over Jacksonville. They come and they meet kids, and they're friends with kids that they don't go to school with, that they would never have met had they not gone to our camp. And our camp is also not a star driven. It's not, your kid's not going to come to be Annie. Your kid's going to come and learn how to work on a team, because you can't put on a show if you don't have somebody flipping the lights on, or a scene partner doing lines with you, or somebody backstage helping with costumes. And they learn all of the, I equate it with a sports team a lot. It's just like playing sports. And if one kid's out, then they have to figure out how to do the show, how to do the scene. And we also have to do that as adults. And we've had times in our shows where somebody gets sick and we don't have understudies. And we have to, at the last minute, find somebody so that we don't have to cancel shows. And unfortunately, with what's going on now, when one person gets sick, 10 people get sick. And that's the difference. So we've postponed, we've had to cancel. Most of the times we've been able to make it up, but we never do anything that is going to put people in harm. And I think that is also why we have continued support from single ticket buyers to our members to government funding. And just know that your tax dollars are going to help many organizations, not just us. And all of the major cultural organizations in town, most of them are 501c3s too, and we all are in that same bucket for the cultural grants program money. I have now spoken for, how much time do I have left, Joe? I have 5 minutes. Okay, so I would like to entertain questions if you have any. Oh, really? Oh, I have 5 minutes more to speak. Well, let me just make sure. Hold, please. One of the things too that helped us get through this period was federal money, and we normally don't receive that. And the CARES Act that came through, some of it shuttled through Jacksonville. We got the first year. I hate saying this, the first year of the pandemic, we received CARES money that replaced a lot of our lost earned income. And then last year, which was the last Senate approved funding, there was a thing called the Shuttered Venue Grant. I don't know, does anybody recognize what that is? So those of us who had buildings that had lost earned income were able to apply for that. And I think we got up to 60% of our lost earned income from the year before the pandemic. This was a game changer. And it was a game changer for several organizations in this town that you think their doors are always going to be open. So again, tax dollars came at a time where it was most needed. And for our organization, we were fiscally solvent. We were in a very good position going into COVID because I don't like to spend money unless I have to. So we would have weathered it, but this allowed us to actually flourish during this time period. And our building is on the historic register. It was built in 1938, and the architect was Ivan Smith of Reynolds Smith and Hills. Y'all recognize it, right? I love our building. It breaks all the time. When I took this job, I had no idea I was going to learn how to all about electricians and all about roofing and plumbing. And the other thing we learned about was when you don't use a facility, it breaks. And it breaks worse than when people are using it. So as we started to open up, we sprung a leak. I got a JEA bill that was $2,000 more than what we pay. And there was a leak under the slab. We never found it, but we had to replumb the entire building. So everything is above ground. Next time it breaks, everything's above ground, right? Our lighting fixtures over the theater, because I don't know if it was because of non-use or just old age, they started to die on us. And so when we had people in by last November, when we were doing Beehive, we had like 10 working lighting instruments. So the girls had to stand in one place. They couldn't move much. So we used Christmas time. We were able to renovate that. We got donated. We had some stage draperies donated from the Ritz Theater because they were upgrading. So that saved us a lot of money. And we were able to use the time down because we didn't have audiences in the building to fix a lot of things that we wouldn't have been able to do. We were able to paint our foyer, our lobby, just lots of, and actually in the newsletter that I put out, it's in my address and on the first page. So the benefits of this, there were some, because it gave us time to make a pause, and it gave us time to think about how we wanted to go forward. How are we going to go forward in a world that's very different and still do our mission? And that's what we talk about all the time. And I will tell you, this season that's in this brochure, this is a great season. These plays all have very small casts. These plays do not have extensive sets. The musical Pippin is a small musical. It has the most of any of these, but we know because the supply chain is killing us. And I know anybody of you running businesses right now, or you go shopping, you can't get stuff. And it's weird what you can't get. Well, when plywood went up,
we go to Lowe's and we buy wood for our sets. Well, we're not doing that right now because it's crazy expensive and they won't deliver anymore because our organization's not big enough. It's all of these weird things. So we know we're going to have a very difficult time next year. So we don't sacrifice our art. We make it so that it is feasible to, again, complete our mission and to bring people into the theater. So that's where we're at right now. This is a very different speech than what I normally do. In fact, I think I spoke to this club about a year before we had to shut down, and it was as we started our 100th year. So this is on the back side of it. And I thought today we would be saying, well, that we were done, but we're not. But we are better. I think we've just taken a step back, and we're a tighter, more consolidated organization. And as we go forward, we will see what we have to do with staffing as we go and things come back in a bigger way. Things are back, but we just need them a little bigger. So now I've completed 5 more minutes. And if anybody has any
You
questions.
certainly have, Sarah. And I'll say this, every touch point is a first impression in the theater, and our best wishes are with you as you strive to get back to pre-pandemic conditions. How about a round of applause for Sarah Boone, Theater Jacksonville?
Thank you. Thanks.
At this time, I will encourage our Rotarians, if you have a question, shoot your hand straight up in the air and I'll come right to you, I promise. Tim Johnson's got the first one.
Great job.
Oh,
Glad to
thanks.
have you
Hi,
here.
Tim.
I've heard that the theater can be therapeutic for young people.
It is.
Is that true? Do you have any anecdotes or any stories that you can tell us?
Therapeutic is a good word. I think that what we do at our theater is teach team building skills. So you're not coming to camp or you're not coming to class so that you're going to be the next star. And it's different. It's a different approach to some other organizations when it comes to theater, but that's how we treat it. We have outreach to when we can get back in the schools. My education director every Thursday would go to an elementary school and teach the ASL class, the autistic. It has I can't remember what they call it, but it's the autistic kids. And we can't do that right now because we can't go in. But what that has done is open up our network, and it's become quite well known that we work well with autistic children. So they are now mainstreamed into our camp. And when we did virtual stuff, this is very interesting. So we did a stop motion animation class for virtual summer camp to teach them how to do stop motion animation. And they were at home doing it. And so the kids who thrived in that were the ones that didn't do well in crowds. So this outlet for them, and they would come to camp, but they would be, a little, the kids around and a little intimidated. They weren't intimidated at all. And the art that they produced was amazing. So we provide opportunities for children, and we align what we do to what they can do. And we've done that. We had a child who was hearing impaired, and she got the lead in the summer camp show. 1 year, and we've had sight impaired children. And what we do is we don't say no, and we figure out how to incorporate them into the everyday activities. So yes, it's therapeutic. I think that is a yes.
Sarah, I'm going to take you across the room, middle row. Judy Matheny has a
Oh,
question.
hey there. You ducked down.
Sarah, I was very impressed by your resume during the introduction.
Oh.
Your background, the talents, obviously, that you bring to your theater. But what we heard today was how you migrated into the theater management and the business aspect of it. But I'm kind of curious, of all of those talents and abilities that you brought to the job, which one of those do you draw on the most?
Wow, I've never had that question. That is a good question. I've never left. I started out as a performer, and I have never left that behind. And so as I incorporated business skills, because I went back to graduate school when I was 30, because I was poor, and I as an artist, and I wasn't going to do that. So I think that every day when I'm making decisions that are from a business standpoint, they are always flavored with my experience as a performer and how that would affect. I mean, just as an example, having to postpone these shows this weekend. We have a bunch of people in ragtime, and half of them aren't sick, and they're like ready to go. and they've not been able to do this. And, and I angsted over this because, how do you balance that put on a show thing with keeping people safe? And it was really difficult. And then I sat back and went, okay, well, I'm a singer, and this show is like an opera. I don't know if anybody has seen the show. It's 3 hours, and it is, they don't stop singing. And that's my timer. And, I said, okay, if this had happened to me and I was recovering from my 5 days of sore throat, would I want to get up and sing this show? No. Would I have the guts to tell my people in the cast that I didn't want to do it? No. So I had to make a decision that was right for everybody, and hopefully it will salvage the end. But it helped for me having experience in those different areas. Did that answer your question? Okay.
Sarah, I'm going to take you front row, press row, Drew Bisbee.
You talked about volunteers. Where are some areas, A, that you're in need, and B, if somebody wanted to get involved with the theater and wanted to volunteer, what are some things that you're looking for?
Cool. There is now, because we are so in the century, a volunteer application on our website. So if you go to theaterjax.com, you can fill it out, and it has areas of interest. But we are always looking for people to help build sets, to help with IT, office operations. If you want to usher for a show, that's a volunteer thing. As we go forward, we have somebody who's been helping us out with computers, because the other thing, because I've been doing this way too long, is every day is a new adventure in computer land. And if you've gone to Word 360 or whatever that is, Microsoft, have you all done that? Yeah, it's not fun. It is not fun. And so, we're trying to keep up with technology. So technology, but mostly, people who want to audition for shows, right? Those are volunteers. And right now we're having good, now that we're back in person, but there's still people who are trepidatious about, coming in. So, but it's always a phone call to the theater or an email. And if you have an area of expertise, if you will want to be on the board of directors, that's a big volunteer spot. And we are always looking for people in different businesses to do that. And again, you guys are going great guns right now, but the volunteer situation is very difficult now. It's better than it was 6 months ago, but it is hard. And people also they're used to being in their houses. I mean, even in Jacksonville, people are not used to being out and about as much as they were, and it's coming back, but we're in that transition period.
You're watching a question and answer engagement session with Sarah Boone from Theater Jacksonville. A friendly reminder of our Rotarians joining us via webcast. If you have a question, please submit it to Joe Springer and we'll read it on the air. But until then, let's go over to Mike O'Brien, center, pitcher's mound, OB.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, Sarah. Can you speak to the process on how you select your plays, your staff, your board?
That's a good question. We have a community committee that I put together, and it's a volunteer committee that reads plays. We call it the repertory committee. And we read probably 100 scripts to come up with 6 plays a year. And it starts now. And we present it to the board of directors at our March meeting, and they sign off on it. And I have to get the other part of this is that you have to get the permission from publishing companies and whoever holds the rights for shows. So I have to secure that and figure out how much the royalties are. Some of them are very expensive, some of them aren't. And that's how but we don't, as the leader of this group, I don't ever do anything without input from either the board or my staff, and mostly from the community. So it's, I pick, if anyone's interested in being on a repertory committee and likes to read, come see me, because it's actually fun. And somehow every year the puzzle parts fit together, because it's a blank slate and you never know what you're going to get. So that's it. And then we make the final decision.
So Sarah, I've been told by President Sherlock we have time for 2 more questions. If anyone has any questions for Sarah in the time that we have, I'm going to go over to the director's chair. Joe Springer's got a question for you, Sarah. I'm coming right to Joe.
Sir Zoom man.
So what does it cost you to get the permission to use a play?
It depends. A musical costs a lot more than a play. A new play costs a lot more than an old play. So if so Private Lives, we're doing Private Lives in September. I think the royalties for 10 performance were $1,800. Not expensive. Pippin, which is what we're doing in the fall, is probably $8,000. So, the typical, we do 10 performances. I think Ragtime was $600 a performance is how much. And then you have to rent the scripts when you do a musical. They get you coming and going. So, basically our yearly royalty is somewhere between 15,000 and 20 on an expensive year. I have a friend that has written a musical, so I'm hoping that not this coming fall, but next, that we will be able to do the premiere of that show in town. So I shouldn't be speaking on something that hasn't been handshook on, but that's my hopes.
Sarah, I've got one final question. I'm going to let Mr. Corrigan have the final word, okay, before I send it back to President Sherlock. Mr. Corrigan.
Mr. Corrigan has never had the final word.
I think I'm going to have the final word.
I'm digressing from your presentation to report that our club incoming president would be here, except she has COVID, which she got in the convention in Dallas.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you.
It's not gone.
Well, prayers for Sean
Yeah.
and her full recovery, as well as Sarah, for your staff and team that are trying to get back to pre-pandemic conditions at Theater Jacksonville. How about another round of applause for Sarah Boone today? Thank you, Sarah. President Sherlock, I'll send it back up to you at the podium.
Sarah, I've got a token of our appreciation. You can put it in your office, keep it in your car, just to let you know and remind you that Rotary appreciates the positive activity you're doing in our community. Thank you. Okay, new member induction, excellent presentation, special awards and recognitions, VIPs from district. How do we top this meeting? We'll show up next week and for lunch, and we'll show you. Our speaker next week will be Brock and Stacy Flores from Fishware Brewery. So that'll be next week, lunch, hybrid. You can show up on Zoom as well. Please sign up for the President's Party, June 29th, right here at Timaquana, 6 p.m. President Sean will be taking the gavel and bringing her new board in. So we want to give them off on the right foot and support President Sean and the new board for the 2022-2023 year. So sign up. Past presidents, all past presidents, I'm looking at a bunch of you. See me or Patty right after this meeting. I've got something special that I need to talk to you about for that night. Okay. Welcome again, our newest member, Krista Canlish. Cheers to you. Congratulations, Patty and Marshall. And I'd like to ask Joe Springer to lead us in the four-way test.
Please join me in repeating the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will be beneficial to all concerned.
The quote of the week: every man's life is a fairy tale written by God's fingers. Hans Christian Andersen.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Right there in the Ford Theater. Wasn't he a bomber pilot in World War II? I knew. Mickey, we're going to get a picture. Yeah, designated pilot. I knew that. Fine family. Did he tell you what it was?
We'll take a picture with this, Joe.
You what?
I must have taken a picture. No. I'll take a couple of mine. How's that?
One of you guys do me a favor, take a picture. We're glad to. Right? We just got to get your front. We get a little closer. Feel like you like each other. You don't have to hug. There you go. Congratulations. One more time. I got you. So there's proof you were here. The top says proof you were here. Yeah, I was trying to work with getting Karen here. And then so we planned this back in April, really. Yes, sir. The only way we get the food was really good. But I don't, you'll have to ask him what was on the other one, because, you know, for example, Ed got one that said something else on it. I'm sorry, you have to. Mine was extra guy. So we sat there trying to figure out how we could get Karen to go. Yeah.